this is going to become part of a very big riverfront park as part of the Banks project, which you're going to see the completed phases of it when we get back on ground. But there's going to be a lot of construction throughout here on this section of the riverfront as well in the upcoming years. So you're just seeing them preparing for that now. Now, back to this bridge. When this bridge was completed in 1867, this was the longest suspension bridge in the world. In fact, one of the only suspension bridges in the world. If you notice that between that bridge here right there and that one over there by Kentucky, there's an awful lot of real estate covered that's not being supported by anything. Now, we take it for granted today, but when this was constructed, this is an engineering masterpiece. So as with all new technologies, you have yourself very cautious citizens afraid to use the bridge, very cautious of the new technology. You have people, it was even rumored that your own body weight could cause the bridge to fall down if you walk across it. So you've got cities like Cincinnati, cities like Covington, full of German immigrants at the time, who were very afraid to use this bridge. So I think the coolest joke I've ever told. How do you get a cautious German to cross a bridge? What do you put in the middle? Somebody's thinking it, some beer. Somebody else is thinking it, some sausage, that's right. For a penny, you can walk out to the middle of this bridge and get yourself a beer and sausage. So naturally, every German within 5 miles has to do this at the same time. And somebody discovers there's 60,000 people on the bridge at the same time, and of course it doesn't fall down. So they kind of conned the city into believing it would work. Now, Mr. Roebling also designed another famous bridge in the United States, which I know you've all heard about before. If you've not seen it or seen it in a postcard travel channel or something, what's this bridge's big sister?
Golden Gate Bridge.
Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge in New York was designed by Roebling just a few years after this one, and it's an identical copy. It's only about 500 feet longer, and it's just two of these put next to each other and glued together. But the same drawings, the same design, and plans and everything, almost identical. Now, in New York, you have a little bit longer of a bridge, so people are also afraid to use it there. There's that humming noise. Now, so in New York, people are also afraid to use the bridge. So how do you get a bunch of cautious New Yorkers to use the bridge? Well, they had, New Yorkers, they love their theatrics and shows and whatnot. Well, they had 25 elephants from the Barnum Bailey Circus. They marched them across the bridge all day until they could prove it pulled the weight of a horse and buggy. Now, obviously, both bridges still work. As you can hear, traffic still crosses this every day. And subway cars still cross the Brooklyn Bridge in New York every day as well. So still, obviously, both designs work. Now you guys check out the tall brown building behind the shorter white one in the Cincinnati skyline. That tall brown building you see there is the Carew Tower. It is the second tallest building in the city. For just $2, you can take a ride to the top of that tower, and from the observation deck on like the 50th floor, I believe, maybe 49th around there, you'll get an amazing view of the area. Today would be a good day to do it, but I have seen better. There are some cloud and overcast, hazy cover in the area. But on a perfectly clear day, you'd be able to see all the way to southern Indiana, which was about 20 miles away. So definitely you have an amazing view from the top of that building if you're interested. I'll point it out when we're on ground if you want to know exactly where it is. Now that building has a pretty unique characteristic to it. Obviously it has a lot of office space in there, but it also has a hotel on the ground floors, the Netherland Plaza. It also has shops and banks and restaurants on the ground floor as well, and even an underground parking garage. So this was your first multi-purpose skyscraper where you could work, shop, eat, sleep, play, and park all in the same spot. So obviously a lot of our buildings around the world today have the same design, but your first one was right over here at the Carew Tower. Any Cincinnati Reds fans on the duck? Yeah? They quack into the microphone so I can believe everyone is a Reds fan regardless of if you are or not. But I do respect whatever team you give your loyalty to as long as it's not the St. Louis Cardinals. Okay, but anyway, unfortunately, the Reds, as you see up ahead of us, empty stadium tonight, and they are playing an away series out in Milwaukee tonight and in the next 2 nights as well, and then I believe it's the All-Star break. So you're not going to see him play here for a few days or so, or for another week. So, but anyway, a very important division series out in Milwaukee. I think they're in second place in the division, so the Reds need to win at least 2 or 3 of these games that they're playing against the Brewers. But here at Great American is one of the smallest fields in Major League Baseball. So in terms of field dimensions, it is one of the smallest. Now, I believe they call it a hitter's paradise, or a hitter's dream. I forget the phrase the newspaper used. But in terms of statistics, this ballpark has one of the highest home run percentages in Major League Baseball. And if you're wondering if it's ever happened, yes, a Reds player has hit the ball into the river before. Adam Dunn, a Reds first baseman back in the early 2000s, has done it a few times. I hear he bounced the ball off the ground and then it fell into the river, but still a very impressive hit nonetheless, over 600 feet. And obviously a lot of height to get over the bleachers in the outfield, so very impressive hit, but also very achievable. Now, you guys ever heard of Pete Rose?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah? Well, regardless of what you think of Pete Rose and his scandal with baseball, we still do love him in Cincinnati. In fact, when we got off that bridge and I was, what was I talking about? I don't remember. We were driving on Pete Rose Way, so we named the street after him. We built our own Hall of Fame because we couldn't put him in the one in Cooperstown, New York. And we have a lot of silent tributes to him throughout our ballpark. Check out these tall stacks out there in the Reds outfield, kind of behind those white things that you see there, those tall stacks. What are those things on top of them? Baseball bats, yeah, I think I heard you say. Indeed. There are 7 baseball bats on each tall stack. 7 and 7 is, of course, 14. Pete Rose's number. So that's our unofficial way of retiring the number 14. Now, the Reds have only issued the number 14 one other time to Pete Rose's own son, who, I kid you not, played baseball for solidly 10 days. Made a very sudden and complete career change. Don't know what he did after that. I guess maybe he's a plumber now or something. But definitely, the Reds have never issued the number 14 ever since then. So if you're going to be in town, or of course you live here, definitely check out the Reds game. They do put on a good show for you, win or lose. And I believe 3 Reds were named to the National League All-Star team. We had Joey Votto, Jay Bruce, and Brandon Phillips. So the first baseman, second baseman, and the right fielder. So definitely some good young talent on the team. Hopefully they can pull together a winning season.